Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shahrukh Suhail. I'm a consultant for Leisure Leagues, where I've been working for the past 2 years. Leisure Leagues is a UK-based brand. It's the largest provider of small-sided football leagues in the world, and it came to Pakistan in December 2016. And we've been operating across multiple cities since March 2017. We've been particularly famous in Pakistan for organizing an event called Ronaldinho and Friends, which happened in July of last year, where we brought Ronaldinho, Ryan Giggs, Robert Pires and some of the biggest football players in the world to Pakistan for 2 exhibition matches in Lahore and Karachi. Leisure Leagues is basically an idea to bring football to Pakistan by World Group and the Trunkpala family, who want to take the potential of football in the country to new heights. The aim of Leisure Leagues is to organize small-sided football leagues throughout the country, and we've been operating in 8 cities in our last season, which includes everything from Saifullah to Quetta to Peshawar. And the amalgamation of that has been the first setup, one of its kind in Pakistan, where we have organized leagues at the very basic grassroots level and taken it up to the entire national sphere. Leisure Leagues, what it does is organize different small-sided football leagues, 5, 6, 7-a-side leagues, and they are held in different cities at different venues. At the end of every season, which lasts for about 3.5 months and features 8 teams at a minimum, playing each other on a weekly basis for 14 matches. Each of the team qualifies for our intra-city championship, where the runners-up and winners compete for the domestic city honors. What happens after that is that the winner of each city gets representation in the national championship that Leisure Leagues holds every year. Last year, the first inaugural national championship was held in Karachi in June, only 2 months ago, and we had 8 cities participating. The winning team, incidentally from Lahore, got the chance to represent Pakistan at the first ever 6-a-side World Cup, which is going to be held in Portugal in a couple of days, starting from the 20th. And this is the first time that Pakistan is actually taking part in a World Cup of this magnitude, and we've been placed in a group with Spain, Moldova and Russia. So the idea that was developed by Leisure Leagues and World Group was to take football forward and provide an alternative system in Pakistan, because while Pakistan has a lot of potential as deemed by FIFA, according to FIFA, Pakistan has 3 million football players. The idea by the Trunkpala family was to give all of these players a potential platform where they could go forward right from the grassroots level and turn themselves into international footballers just by playing on a regular basis. So what we do is organize local leagues, the intra-city, national, and then take all these players on a regular basis abroad to play the World Cup. And this is a calendar year that we have started, and this is just the beginning of what Leisure League envisions in Pakistan. What we did last year with Ronaldinho and Friends, we wanted to emulate every year and turn this into a mega football event, because nothing showcases the potential of what the country holds when you actually see people coming to the stadium, when they see all of these big names that have played some of the biggest games in the world come to Pakistan and actually play football with some of our local stars and some of the players from Leisure Leagues itself. Ronaldinho and Friends came into being last year when Leisure Leagues formally launched in Pakistan, and our parent company and the company which is owned by the Trunkpala family was basically looking to make a mark in Pakistan and showcase the actual football potential. And the way that we came up with that potential, or the idea that we wanted to execute, was Ronaldinho and Friends, simply bringing one of the biggest players that has ever come into the football game to Pakistan. And what we did was we approached Ronaldinho to come to Pakistan, and obviously it was a tumultuous challenge, because bringing some of the biggest football players to Pakistan and at the very same time facing security concerns which were faced by some of the cricketers in PSL as well, and they refused to come. So obviously it was a very difficult task convincing all of these players to come, but we were of course thankful to Ronaldinho alongside Ryan Giggs, Robert Pires and Nicholas Anelka, all of these big name superstars who agreed to come to Pakistan. And it was not only a football game for them, they realized that they were helping change the entire fortune of a country, because once they came to Pakistan and when Ronaldinho made a statement that Pakistan is safe for sports, that helped to change the entire perception of the country abroad. And obviously in the world of today, soft image is a very important tool in helping a country progress, and Leisure Leagues, World Group and the Trunkwala family are very proud to have played a role in helping change the perception of Pakistan globally. Leisure Leagues, though it's a privately held company, Leisure Leagues comes in with the belief that it's working in a frontier market, that is Pakistani football, and the market itself is being developed right now. Since we've held our event last year, Ronaldinho Friends, we've seen a lot of brands become active in football, and I think that's one of the biggest progressive points that we've taken in the last years, that people are seeing football, something that our company considers to be our bread and butter, taking it in a very different light. We've seen Coca-Cola work on their trophy campaign to Pakistan. We've seen recently EBM and Chocolicious work on a football campaign. We've seen Milo come into football and organize a league that's working with them. But the idea that football will be generating money is going to be taking a few years. But Leisure Leagues is essentially here with a long-term business plan that can not only help develop Pakistani football, but the ultimate vision of Leisure Leagues, World Group and Trunkwala family is to take Pakistan to the World Cup. And that can never be possible without Pakistani football becoming a viable football market, because football is one of the biggest sports in the world, and it's big because it's considered to be one of the most lucrative businesses. But unless you have sports professionals, unless you have vision in place, unless you have the private sector heavily involved in Pakistani football over the next 10 years, because in the last 70 odd years we've never seen this sort of activity being held in Pakistan in any manner whatsoever. So what we see is this becoming a different kind of market, because what we have in Pakistan in sports is inherently limited to cricket, or what else is left, it goes to hockey. But football is an emerging sport, and it's seen that with the countries that are playing football around the world, they, according to FIFA, they have a membership of 209 countries. That's more than the membership of the United Nations. But the way football works is very different to what Pakistan does already. So what we're trying to do is change the culture. The way Leisure Leagues works is basically organizing small-sided leagues, and the biggest challenge itself is that leagues are what takes a country forward. Obviously, we are currently organizing leagues throughout the country, and we eventually obviously have other plans to incorporate different elements of professional football as well, including academies and a professional league as well. But the idea right now is to create a culture where people are more suited and more willing to play football on a regular basis and on a platform that takes them forward, rather than going for a gung-ho approach and playing a tournament, and which is the end of it. So we are not only shaping a market, we are trying to change the perception of what football is in Pakistan, and we're trying to take the country forward in multiple elements. And this is a long drawn battle, and we're well prepared for it, and we're seeing that this frontier market becomes a more viable business opportunity for multiple stakeholders in the next 10 to 20 years.